So we're continuing our series of discussions on how to meditate. Meditation is not an act. That's the first mistake everybody makes. That it's a natural tendency of us to do something and achieve the results. We are very good at it. And we have done wonderful things. Science has advanced. We wake up in the morning, we go to work, and at the end of the day, we have some reward. And this is all we know. And we have evolved more than animals where they keep on working, they don't even ask for anything in return. They just feed their stomachs and that's about it. But as far as imaginations develop, all these things we have done, but at the same time, our mind has been caught up in that routine. So meditation, if we look at it as an act, we will never reach anywhere. Because meditation is a totally different ballgame. In an action, results are expected. And while you are working, during that process of acting, your mind is on the results. And in the Western civilization, they say you have to focus on the goal, basically. So our mind is focused on the goal so that we can improve our day-to-day actions to finally reach to the goal. So those things we have been doing it for a long time. And the problem is, the meditation also we convert into an action. We meditate thinking that I'm going to get better. We meditate thinking that I'm going to have pleasure somewhere down the road. I'm going to reach nirvana. I'm going to reach moksh. So anytime the desire to reach somewhere is there, meditation does not happen. Because meditation is not an act. It does not involve the material things, material aspects. Because matter being separated from each other creates the space. Matter rotating with each other creates a so-called illusion of time. Earth rotating around the sun, and all those things. The illusion of time and space is created. If an action is committed, and if you make it an action, we will be limited with the finite boundaries of time and space. So meditation will become difficult, especially in a busy schedule of everybody. Oh, I can't fit meditation into my schedule. The problem is we don't have time, and a lot of times we don't have space. If your office is full of people sitting, and you can't meditate in front of 10 other people doing their things, right? So the concept of meditation is entirely different than what most of the people have concept of meditation about. So what Wikipedia does, it defines, and it's not an authority here, I'm just saying, but I was just fooling around with Wikipedia and it came across, was very interesting because it's all contributed by different people. But it does make it a point that meditation is a practice in which an individual trains the mind or induces a mode of consciousness. We altering our consciousness and our ego, either to realize some benefit, that's somebody's opinion, and the second one is more important, or as an end in itself. So when the meditation becomes an end in itself, it becomes an experience, not an act where you will expect some results. So there are very, very wrong ideas about meditation, or to that matter, any spiritual practice. So if people are doing it with some goal in mind, you will never succeed. But the second part I like, that to be by an end by itself, to reach to the meditative state and experience that state is the ultimate, goal, kind of. But at that time, you are not achieving anything. You are remaining in that state. It's like you remain in that state for all the time. So then also, in the beginning, you start the practice of meditation, say for 20 minutes, 30 minutes every day. And during that time, your goal is to walk away. But then it becomes your nature. It becomes your expression of your own individuality from inside. And then it becomes a state of being. It's not a goal anymore. And the ultimate purpose of meditation is to expand it into your daily life so that every act that you do meditatively. So your day-to-day actions also become meditation. So very limited in a finite way, a sit-down meditation is not that helpful. Or maybe it is helpful to start a process, but ultimately it's an inside conversion that's going to happen. So the next paragraph they say is meditation is often used to clear the mind and ease many health issues. Again, purpose. I mean, this is fed by people, so don't think that I'm quoting a scripture or anything like that. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. I
Yes.
have one question. I want to clear it. The Muslim, they pray at Friday at in the mosque. Yeah.
Right.
So they do meditate or they do something else?
What you do is entirely up to you. It doesn't matter whether you're Muslim or Hindu or Jain or Sikh, it doesn't matter. Every religion has prescribed kind of certain techniques where it does give you a chance and time to reflect upon yourself. And every religion offers that. But the thing is that whether you do it mechanically or really reflecting to your own spiritual self is up to you.
Up to the
Right?
individual person.
Yes. So that's why meditation is important. In the meditation, you raise your awareness. And the awareness is a gift of consciousness. Once the awareness is raised, and that's what I'm coming to, is going to start evaluating your day-to-day actions, whether I'm doing it out of basically just like a habit, or I'm really, you start paying attention to what is the ultimate purpose of my action, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it. All these questions you're going to start asking yourself. And then you will say, should I be doing this anymore or not? And we'll come to that. And we had talked about it. So the thing is that, so Wikipedia says, meditation is often used to clear the mind and ease many health issues such as high blood pressure, depression, anxiety. So again, if you're using meditation as a tool, just because somebody has told you that, oh, do meditation, your anxiety will go away, you're using a beautiful spiritual tool for literally...
And plus you're expecting.
And then you're expecting.
Plus you're expecting.
So the results do not happen. Prerna had raised good, discussion the last time. And she says that, what if you're, like, because Vijayabhai was saying that you dance. And she said that, what if you dance because you're so frustrated from life? And then you're using the dance as a technique to stay away from frustration, at least for temporarily time being, while you're dancing. That's the abuse of a beautiful technique. When you dance like nobody's watching. And you dance because you want to dance. The dance is happening inside out. That's a real dance. You become the dance, right? So there are very subtle ways. So spiritual techniques, all these things are whether they are used to walk away from frustrations of the life, then they are being utilized as a tool to achieve something. It's not going to take you anywhere.
Okay, yeah.
So these are the very subtle aspects of meditation that we have to understand. So meditation can be used to cure some of the illnesses like high blood pressure, depression, anxieties. And now they're saying, and this is the most important thing, they say it may be done sitting or in an active way. For instance, they quote, Buddhist monks involve awareness in their day-to-day activities as a form of mind training, which is meditation. So they make everyday activities as a meditation, and they start recognizing basically the same thing that you're doing in meditation, where you distancing yourself from your thoughts. So thoughts, action, mind, body, the whole complex is being observed while you're sitting there. But you can continue doing the same thing while you're acting, but you're going to need tremendous level of awareness. That awareness is consciousness. Sat, Chit and Anand. Chit function of the Satchidanand is the awareness. And that with awareness, if you do everything, then you have no problem. So the awareness means what? Awareness is keeping the, basically offering yourself and remaining in the highest level of awareness. Is the highest level, you synchronize at the highest level of consciousness. And then you do every single action. You basically, Krishna is saying that you steady yourself in me. Offer every single action to me. remove yourself completely, remove your ego, that you are the doer. And when that happens, you lifting every single action to the highest spiritual level. So that is what is meant in Gita when they say, when Krishna said that keep yourself in the highest samadhi state and perform all the actions and fight the yuddha. That's what he was giving the sermon to Arjun, right? So the thing is that our ego makes us think that we are the doers, and that's where all the suffering comes in. We are doing everything for our ego. Ego is the one who decides what actions to do. While the action is being carried out, ego is thinking what it is going to get out of it. And when whatever action is doing, the purpose is fulfilled, it destroys that action and goes for a new action. This is like an unending cycle that's going on. Literally, the ego is the generator, operator, and the destroyer of your actions. So ego is God in a very minuscule fashion for the time being while you're performing in the samsara. So if you really see, the ego itself is an illusion. We think that this is mine, this is yours. And because of that illusion, the ego comes alive. And once the ego comes alive, what it does? The fruits of a mango tree will bear only mangoes. It's not going to bear any other fruits. So ego gets an illusion that it's a mini God. So basically it's a product of consciousness. That's what consciousness does. Consciousness has given rise to this beautiful world. It's operating while it's going on, and it's going to destroy at some point, and it's going to absorb itself within itself only for another world to rise again. It's just going to keep on going. Just the way we create a dream, we maintain the dream in our sleep, and we destroy it when we wake up. So the whole play is duplication of ultimate consciousness. We have to realize that. So we decided that in the earlier lectures that in meditation, one, we don't want to have the criticism towards the mind, whether the mind is good or bad. If the mind is performing any actions, whether it is good or not, we're not going to take any sides. We're not going to rationalize that, okay, it should have been like this, it should have been like that. So your ideas should be at minimum, right? Because at the body level, at the mind level, all those things, once it quiet down, the consciousness will shine. The body has to be rested by feeding it. So that's why we say you should be somewhat hungry, somewhat tired, not too hungry and not too tired. Otherwise you're going to fall asleep or you're going to think of food. So body should be quieted down while meditating. And basically now if we expand the definition of meditation in the life itself, we should keep the body satisfied, meaning you should feed it, but not overindulgence at the same time, because then it's going to take you away from your meditative state. The same thing, mind has a tendency to run after the objects of the pleasures. Now, we know how to quiet down the body. How do you quieten the mind? There is no way to fight. There is no way to fight with the mind because it's very, very tricky. Because to fight with the mind, you need the mind again. And the one part of the mind, and this is all we have, one part of the mind fights with another part of the mind, and the battle never ends, and you never go into meditation. So fighting with the mind is not worth it. That's why we have to become an observer. We have to start learning the observership. So once you observe and understand the nature of the mind starts becoming a little bit quiet. So in Vasishta's yoga, Vasishta Muni, tells Ram that expand the mind. Actually, mind is a beautiful tool. It's the gift of consciousness to us. So we have to expand. We cannot contract. We cannot get rid of the mind. Mind is built into you. If you have a fragrance and if you are a flower, you cannot hold on to it. You have to open up and let it go, no matter what. The same way, mind is a beautiful thing. You cannot shut it off and go to the animal level existence, although most of the people try to do, by just getting locked into certain pleasures in eating or alcohol or whatever, and they try to forget the mind, so the mind is obliterated because mind is a cause of trouble for them. But we have to understand the nature of the mind and we have to utilize for its own liberation, kind of. So Ram was told by Vasisht that expand the mind to understand the mind. And that's the only way to understand. So external activities where the mind is actively involved with the goal in the mind will never take you to the consciousness, because it's an action is directed towards outside. But when the same attitude starts going within, that I want to know myself, and then the mind starts folding itself, it starts expanding. This is the first search it will start doing, where external objects are not necessary anymore. So that's meditation, where any of the objects of pleasures or any external material objects are not necessary. So senses are not needed anymore. So the body becomes useless, the senses become useless, and now mind, like we said, we're just going to become an observer. So mind doesn't have a whole lot to do except turning upon itself. So that's why Rama was told that expand the mind to know the mind. So going within is the only way you're going to know your own nature. So they say only the snake knows its legs. Do you know where the snake's legs are? And yet snake is going, but only the snake knows which muscle to use to propagate itself on the ground. So if you want to know the self, you will have to utilize the self. Mind is a manifestation of the self, is one of the manifestation of the self. So you have to expand the horizons of your mind, and that's when the function of the mind is to be aware of surrounding objects. So we have to become more and more and more aware. So hyper state of awareness is the fullest state of awareness, is the enlightened state. That's where we want to go. So external activities have no value. There was a story of Rajneesh once was traveling in a train, and there was one fakir, who was also traveling with him, and he kept on asking, how long is that next station? Let me know, 30 minutes before or something like that. And so Rajneesh told him, say, okay, it should be. And then Rajneesh fell asleep, kind of. He was still awake, but he thought Rajneesh was sleeping. So he goes and in front of the mirror, and he takes out his turban, and he counts, because he had hidden some money in there, 400, 500 rupees. He counts it and puts it, and then he takes almost like 15, 20 minutes to put the turban back in and all these things. Now, if you're a sannyasi, you have given up how much efforts you really going to look properly. He spends half an hour looking at whether he looks correct or not and all that. Rajni says, might as well be in a sansar and waste the same amount of time putting a tie and look professional and maybe make more money. So how much activities, how much importance you want to give to your activities is more important rather than going within. If you're really within, what difference does it make how you look? What difference does it make who tells you what or whatever, right? If there are no secondary gains desired, what difference does it make? So we have to ask ourselves, what are we really doing in life? And for that, you're going to need extreme high level of awareness. So full state of awareness is the ultimate thing that is going to happen. And then you're going to start analyzing your day-to-day actions, whether I'm going in the right direction or not. So first, you have to realize what is the awareness. So you have to raise the awareness towards your own desires. Any action that you perform, what is your desire? Are you doing something to attract people's attention? Or are you doing something to impress people? What is the ultimate purpose? If you're wearing an orange robe just to prove to other people that you are a sannyasi, then you have not gone there. Whether are you orange inside, whether you realize the orange is the glow of the sun, and you talking about the consciousness shining, and just because you feel that consciousness inside, and to express your inner feeling, you're wearing an orange clothes, fine, no problem with that. So, doing the same action, wearing an orange robe, can be done in two ways. Are you going to the temple for what? To socialize? or to eat food, which is plenty, or you're going because you're feeling so good inside that you just want to have half an hour of silence and communicate with God.
उसके अंदर कोई जाता नहीं है.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, as you said, if you go to the temple and not eat and not talk to anyone,
Right, then nobody will
will go.
Right, exactly.
People are going so they
Just
can
for
have
the
a
same
food
reason.
afterwards.
Right,
and-
exactly.
लोग पागल बोलेंगे, पागल आदमी है.
Right, exactly.
So,
हाँ, बात ही नहीं करता है.